Hello and welcome. You're watching Money 9. I'm Sakshi Batra, and on this show, we're going to be talking all about markets with a very special guest who's joining in. I have with me Mr. Atul Bhole. He's the Vice President Investments at DSP Investment Manager. So, the markets are at all-time high levels. There is exuberance all over, and they have been creating history on an everyday basis when we talk about the Sensex crossing 56,000 level and the Nifty inching higher on an everyday basis as well. Help us understand, how are you telling all the clients and investors at this point in time to trade, with whatever the way markets are trading at this point in time? Is it good to be aggressive when the markets are at all-time high levels, or is it time now to be a little cautious and start to book some of your profits that you're sitting on?
Yeah, good morning, Sakshi, and thanks for inviting me on your show. So we are talking about the market making new highs, but let me tell you that in last 15, 20, or even many years in other markets have come to this stage making new highs many times over. So I think we are just going through that phase. Obviously, we have come up sharply in last 6 months, so there is need to be a bit cautious, particularly in some pockets of the markets, like some of the small cap, mid cap stocks, or the companies which are coming out with new IPOs. There is some caution required, but by and large, I think we are getting into a situation where growth is coming back, and also moderate level of inflation is also making a comeback. This kind of situations are very good for corporates and hence equity markets, and also it is good for the government point of view. So I think even growth is coming back, inflation is moderate, and there is liquidity, ample liquidity world over. I think market will find all this situation very favorable, and hence I think the up move will continue. In the near term, maybe we might see a range bound market, or maybe small correction. That is the way of life in market. So I'm not at all concerned about the new highs we are making, and I think such kind of new highs will be made in the future as well. So we cannot take decisions looking at the market highs or market lows, etc. We have to stay invested to the allocation which is sort of applicable to the individual.
Okay, understood that, sir. But how do you respond to those concerns being raised of overvaluation in the markets? We are seeing that the market cap to GDP is way higher than the historical average at this point in time. Some of the experts have also been raising red flags about the kind of retail participation we are seeing, which is at a record high level. The IPO activity, just like how you pointed out, has been in a frenzy for a long time as well. And some of the experts are seeing this as red flags for the markets. Of course, the ample liquidity has been very, very supportive so far. But how are you looking at these concerns, especially when we also keep in mind that there is some kind of softness that is coming in the global markets too?
Yeah, right. So as I said, there are some pockets to worry about, like IPO market, small and mid cap stocks, or the retail participation which we have seen. So these are typical signs of a market peaking. But I think the economic situation which we are getting into, we are getting into a situation which is probably looking like a growth and inflation situation, and this is the situation the world was waiting for last 10 years. And finally, there are of this kind of situation coming into picture. So given that these things, and I think the liquidity in the low interest rate scenario is going to be there for some period of time. Whenever central bankers decide to reduce the liquidity or increase the interest rate, I think that is going to be a gradual phenomena. It's not going to be a shock. So given all these things, I think valuations have come up. But by and large, as I said, particularly say large cap stocks or even in some of the mid cap stocks, valuations are reasonable, looking at this ground situation of growth coming back and the lower interest rate into the system. So yes, you are right, there are some pockets to worry, but I would still say that by and large we are into a situation where we are getting into some kind of Goldilocks situation. This is called as Goldilocks in economics, where you are getting the growth back, have some moderate amount of inflation, and the monetary situation is accommodative. So I think this kind of situation can be there for some time, and hence equity as an asset class can outperform other asset classes. So I'm not saying we will repeat the returns of last year, but by and large, I think equity can do better than other asset classes.
Okay, understood that. Also, I have to ask you about this big uncertain that we are dealing with for the last 1.5 years, and that is the COVID pandemic and the repeated waves. Of course, we have seen that the second wave has peaked out. None of us are, thinking that this time around the third wave will hit us. But in case it does, because there's a big question mark there. What kind of impact do you see on the markets of that? And in case there is a correction because of the third wave, will there be any rejigging in the portfolio during that time that you would recommend to all the investors? And what should be their strategy of investors in such an event if it happens?
Yeah, I think I'm not an expert on predicting the third wave and how severe it can be. But
Yeah.
what we have learned from last 1.5 year is that mankind will obviously come over these things, and we have seen how the markets and economies bounce back after first wave and also the second wave. So second wave was pretty severe compared to the first wave in terms of infections, fatalities, etc. But nonetheless, we have bounced back. So going forward, also taking clue from that, I think market do bounce back, and that's the even if third wave happens, I think that will be the same situation in the future. So one has to stay invested, and if at all, as you said, there is some correction or volatility in the market, I think people have made lot of money in lot of stocks in these IPOs, mid caps, whatever. So in such situation, I think it can be prudent to book profits in such companies where profits has been made because of the momentum, and get into good quality, stronger companies which will benefit much more in the growth situation or growth scenario which we are getting into.
I will talk about these specific sectors where we are able to find value and where it will be better for investors to stick. But one more question on valuation, and then we'll come on to that. I wanted to ask you, between the kind of valuations we are seeing in large caps and mid caps, between August 2020 to July 2021, we've seen that the mid caps have actually risen about 80%. Vis-a-vis when we see a 42% kind of a rise in the Nifty. Now, in PE terms, the price to equity terms also, or price to earnings term also, we have seen that the Nifty mid cap 100 is actually trading at a 3% premium to Nifty, and the mid caps are trading at 3% premium to the large caps. So, do you see this entire valuation to be sustainable? As of late, we have seen some kind of pressure points getting created in the broader markets too, despite the benchmark seeing all kind of highs that we have. So how do you advise investors to approach this with the kind of valuations that we are seeing here?
Yeah, so before going into valuation, I would again like to stress the point on the recovery, which I believe can take place in next 3-5 years, and it is going to be a broad-based recovery. So in last 5 years, we have seen narrow rally, maybe 100, 200 stocks participated, but going forward, I think because the recovery will be broad-based, more and more companies, sectors will participate, and hence the obviously it will have impact on stock prices. But that's why I think some of the mid cap and small cap stocks have done well. But as you said, probably they have factored in much more than what in the store for next maybe 1 year. So the ideal situation can be these stocks taking a breather for maybe 6, 9, 12 months, and at the same time seeing good risk reward on the large cap side. So I'm not expecting or saying there can be a big correction on the small and mid cap side because the economic scenario developing is good for the markets. Probably they will go through a time correction, and during that time, the large cap may do a catch up game.
Okay, understood. And now I wanted to talk about certain segments in the markets where we have seen a lot of buzzing action taking place. First up, the metal space. Now, this is one sector that has actually given phenomenal returns to investors in this last year. The commodity boom, the super cycle that we've been talking about. Commodity experts are quite bullish about how this commodity rally gets sustained, perhaps for the next 8 to 10 years as well. So despite the rally, I wanted to ask you, the metal sector trading at an EV to EBITDA of say 4.7 times, which is below its 10-year historical average of about 6.7 times. So talking about all of this, how do you approach the metal space at this point in time? Is there still merit to get into the sector in some of the names at this level as well?
Right. So I think I'm not expert at all, and I'm particularly in the cyclical sectors like metal, and I'm not sure about the super cycle, etc. But what has happened is basically because of China in this sector, and it will always be that way, I think.
Yeah.
So in last 6 months, and probably just the visibility in metal sector cannot be for 8-10 years, at least to my mind. It can be just 6-12 months, and looks like that China will continue to have that anti-pollution policy, and they will they have closed some capacities, and that's why the metal prices have bounced back so sharply in last 9-12 months. Looking like the capacity is not going to come on stream in China and the demand is there, the metal prices which have come up to this level probably can sustain. And if they sustain at these levels, our companies are making very good profit there. As you said, the EV/EBITDA ratio. So the EBITDA has gone up and they're deleveraging very sharply. They're paying off their debt very sharply. So
Yeah.
despite the stock rallying to this extent of 4-5x in last 1 year, the EV/EBITDA ratio seems to be in control because of the twin factors of EBITDA going up and the debt going down. So given situation continuing, I think it is makes sense to stay invested in ferrous as well as some of the non-ferrous companies.
Okay, it makes sense to still stay put in some of the strong names in the metals basket even now. And the one space that has been a lot talked about, as in when we were peeking out of the second wave, was the unlocked trade. I wanted to understand from you, is there merit in being associated with this whole space, given the fact that globally 4.3 billion vaccines have already been administered, which means that 35% of the population of the world has already got at least one shot or perhaps two shots. And if there is no third wave, will that unlock trade also continue in India? And is there merit to be, looking at this space from a long-term perspective?
Yeah, I think during COVID, a lot of families and lot of people have suffered and they have lost their jobs or incomes. But equal amount of families and people, I think they are well-to-do. They have actually saved a lot because they couldn't go out for say dining or travel and tourism. So that saving is there with people. So when this full unlock happens or the vaccination happens and the confidence come back, obviously people will go out shopping, spending, watching movies, etc. So to a large extent, I agree that this unlock trade will pan out. But during in this unlock trade, I think it is important to select stock wisely rather than just going for, going or looking at this space in a superficial way. We have to look at companies which are doing well, which will do well, and on addition to that, they will benefit from this unlock trades, like maybe credit card companies or something like that, rather than going into say airlines or multiplexes, etc. So I believe this trade will play out, but the stocks to play can be different than the popular names.
Okay, understood. You were talking about, the IPO space in your initial comments. I wanted to take that forward as well, because the kind of frenzy we have seen in 2021 in the IPO space is something that has never been seen before, or rarely been seen before. So it's been raining IPOs. About 38 IPOs have raised about 70,000 odd crore rupees in the current calendar year already. Many others are lining up. We are seeing this new age digital internet companies forming a new segment altogether in the stock markets. Of course, valuation is one question, the losses on the books is one question. But do you see that this space is something that investors will have to at least take note of whether or not invest in it because of the concerns? How would you advise investors to really look at this space? Of course, there's an entire retail frenzy also, and everybody is running and making a beeline to catch whatever they can. Of course, that's also a question whether that's the right attitude of investors to go ahead and buy everything that is out there coming out with the IPOs. But how would you advise them?
Yeah, I think one has to be extra careful because of this, the kind of IPOs are coming and the kind of oversubscription they are getting and the kind of listings are happening. I mean, 100% up on the day of listing, etc. So these are signs to worry. These are signs of a market peaking. So obviously, we have seen many times in history that people get into such IPO frenzy, and then because the valuations and the business potential or the quality of business, there is huge mismatch. People get into such companies once this market rally sort of tapers off. So I think one has to be extra careful. For that matter of fact, I have not participated in any single IPO in last 6 months. Even at the DSP level, we have just participated just 2 or 3 IPOs. So we are, as you said, we are taking note of all of this. We are watching all IPOs very carefully, analyzing those companies. But we are finding a lot of disconnect, particularly, I mean, in many cases, businesses are not up to the mark in terms of, at least we are not clear how the businesses will shape up in future in terms of making profits and making cash flows. And even if there is this confidence, that there is huge mismatch between the potential and the valuation. So we are giving it a pass, and there are ample opportunities in the broader market to put the incremental money.
Absolutely. This is going to really help all the viewers, investors who have been feeling a kind of FOMO, the fear of missing out, as and when, because we are seeing all these headlines blow up talking about these kind of 100% returns in a single day, which attracts most of the retail investors. So I'm sure this valuable advice will definitely help them, that even the biggest of the biggest experts and investment houses are actually giving these IPOs a pass if they are not up to the mark. So please keep that in mind as well. I also wanted to take your comment in the end on the Q1 FY22 earnings that we have seen so far. What do you make of the earnings? Have they been up to your estimates? And going forward from here, what are the indications you picked up from the management commentaries? And how are they going to handle this, uncertainty of COVID waves if they come from here on? And are they fully equipped to beat the pandemic blues now?
Yeah, so before coming to Q1 results, I will talk about the commentaries from various management. I think by and large, say up to 90% of the managements are very bullish about the future and the pickup in the economy moving forward. You take it banking sector, IT, consumer discretionary names like durables. I think across industries and sectors, the outlook is becoming stronger and stronger, and the managements are confident about the making up the lost sales during say Q1. So I think the mood or the sentiments across companies and managements are coming out to be very positive. For the Q1 results, if in the Q1 itself, if you see 45 days, that is, I mean, large part of the quarter, most of the companies have missed because there are partial lockdowns, full lockdowns in large part of the country. And before, I mean, this Q1 is preceded by the March quarter. Typically during March quarter, we see the economic activity peaking and a lot of inventory filling or those kind of activities happen. So Q1 is anyway sort of lean quarter for many companies, and on top of that, we had this second wave of COVID. So I won't read too much into the Q1 numbers. There can be a 2-year comparison versus June 21 versus June 19 quarter, but this is to be apple to apple comparison because we have lost 45 days during this Q1. So I will not get the numbers in that sense, but the commentary is very very positive, which is coming out from the most of the managements.
Okay. And lastly, sir, for all those investors who have already missed out this 1.5 years of the kind of one-way rally that we've seen in the markets, the new investors wanting to enter at this point in time when the benchmark indices are at record high levels, what is the most prudent way of approaching the markets? How should they design their portfolio, and how should they approach the markets, just to help all the new viewers out there?
Yeah. So I remember one quote of Peter Lynch when you said that so many people have missed the rally. So he has said that a lot of money has been lost in waiting for correction than in correction itself. So that's the picture we have seen in last 1 year. And so keeping that in mind, I think people do worry a lot about the risk. But let me tell you that at any point of time there will be a lot of risk, and if there is no risk, we will find out the risk to bother about. So I think it makes sense to stay invested. We have a history or track record of equity markets in our country and globally of last 10 years, 20 years. So and particularly, I think we are getting into an economic scenario where growth is probably making a comeback, and along with that, inflation is at the moderate level, which is very good for equity as an asset class. It is good for corporates to show stronger top line growth. It is good for governments to get more collections because they collect taxes on nominal value of goods and services. So in this situation, I think makes sense to have whatever kind of equity allocation suitable for an individual to have that allocation without bothering so much about the market sort of levels. So get to the right kind of equity allocation in your portfolio, and if at all there is some dip, you can top it in those kind of dips rather than waiting for corrections, because we have seen in last 1 year that people have waited. When Nifty went to say 8,000 in March 2020, people said we will invest at 6,000, and now we are at 16,000. So I think it's not good to time the market. It what makes sense is to what kind of time you have spent in the market. The longer you spend, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, then you see the compounding and the wealth creation in the market rather than trying to time those 5-10% corrections. So I would say decide your equity allocation and stay invested with that allocation in mind.
Okay, stay invested and don't try to time the market. Thank you very much, Mr. Bole, for sharing these wonderful insights on the markets and these tips for all the new investors who are entering the market at this point in time, and for speaking to us on all segments of the markets, including the primary market and the buzz there too. Thank you very much for all these insights.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, we wrap up this edition of Market Masterclass, and we'll keep getting you such interesting conversations with the top market experts who understand the markets in the deep and who help you understand what is the best way to approach the markets and the best way to enhance your investments and in your portfolio, get that growth factor and get that alpha when you're approaching the markets, which are already at record high levels. Thank you very much for tuning in for now.